Welcome to Mom Matters. I'm your host, Alyssa Dver. In the next 10 easy-to-watch minutes, we're going to give you some really practical tips for more productive parenting. Tonight's topic is Shut Up About Your Perfect Kid. And joining us is Gina Gallagher and Patty Conjoined. Did I say that right, Patty?
Yes, you did.
Excellent. They are both authors as well as sisters, and we're going to talk about this great book, Shut Up About Your Perfect Kid, The Movement of Imperfection. We're going to talk all about that in just a second. But to give you a little bit more background on our guest tonight, Gina is a copywriter, and she has two daughters, ages 12 and 8. I'm looking at my notes because with all these kids I'm going to mess it up, I'm sure. And Patty, you are the owner of Champion Video Productions. Very exciting being an entrepreneur as well, with two daughters and a son. And they're all in their about teens, right?
Yes, except for my son, he's 10.
He's 10, and the daughters are
16 and 14.
16 and 14. So hands full on all decks. Thank you for joining us tonight. The first question is the obvious one. Tell us a little bit about your special children.
My daughter Katie is 12, and she was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when she was 8, which is a form of high-functioning autism. I also have an 8-year-old daughter that has some learning issues, though not to the degree that Katie has.
And when was he diagnosed with them?
It was a girl.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just her learning issues within the last year.
So I told you all the kids and mine and yours and
Yeah,
ours.
that's
The
fine.
Brady
We
Bunch
can't-
here.
we can't keep them straight.
Yeah.
And yours.
My daughter Jennifer, who's 14, was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when she was 12, but she was sort of red flagged since she was 8.
Wow. And what was the flag? How did you know?
Mood swings, depression, just very, very irritable behavior, and to the point where she was just almost violent sometimes.
Wow. You're very lucky to have each other, let alone be
Absolutely.
sisters, to share that with. And I know in all these discussions, not only did the book come out, but some really interesting concepts, one of which is this movement of imperfection. What is this?
Well, we think our society today is just way too obsessed with perfection. I mean, you have to live in the perfect house, drive the perfect car, have the perfect spouse, which none of us have, or
Yeah.
the perfect body. But there's no greater pressure than to achieve perfection with our children. I think from the moment they're born, we're comparing them with other kids and seeing, what milestones they're reaching. And if you have a child that's not only not perfect, but has a disability that makes their lives very difficult, it seems like nobody wants to hear about them. And so our movement is all about, showcasing that we're proud of our kids, talking about them, not being afraid to take them out of the closet and show why we're proud of them. And it's creating a dialogue with people to say, the book is saying, look, my kid's not perfect, but life is still wonderful.
Absolutely. And I should mention, this is one of those magnetic bumper stickers,
Yes,
so it's
absolutely.
one of the many ways you've come up with to
Absolutely.
showcase.
Show our pride.
Absolutely. That's great. Why is this so important today? I mean, it's interesting. We did a show a couple weeks ago called The Super Parent Trap, and how parents are so obsessed with making their kids perfect. So I know that that's a big issue, but why is this movement so important now?
Well, I think now, I know two of my daughters, are in high school sports now, and you're expected to give up summer vacations and school vacations, and it's part of this. Well, let's go for the scholarship kind of thing, and it's just putting so much pressure on the kids.
It really is. No, I agree. We're going to take a quick commercial. I know it's early in our show, but we have a lot to cover, talking about not only some of the issues that you feel as parents of special needs kids, but things that parents who don't have special needs kids need to understand better. We'll be right back.
Every parent knows at any crowded venue, just a split-second distraction is all it takes. And without identification, your child is lost. Finally, there's a solution. Wanderwear. T-shirts and child identification tags that give parents peace of mind.
We're back talking with Patty and Gina about Shut Up About Your Perfect Kid. I love that title. It really gets your attention. And my question for you right now is, what's the toughest part? I mean, there's got to be a lot of challenges. What is the toughest part about raising kids with special needs?
I think we each have our own from different perspectives. I think with my daughter, it's just trying to keep her confidence up when she's constantly being beaten down for things that she can't do, and getting her to embrace her differences. And I think that's probably the greatest challenge.
Do you find that beating down by other parents or
Yeah,
kids?
kids, yeah, in society in general. I mean, I think that, my daughter has come home and said, why am I different, Mom? And now, through the book and through meeting other parents, I can have a different dialogue with her, say, embrace your difference. Look at all the famous people that have had Asperger's or inventors, and, thinking differently is okay.
That's true. That's true. Parents without special needs kids, what are the things that you think they really don't understand or appreciate from your perspective?
I think it isn't that. I think we need to do a better job at educating them by us talking about our children and some of the hardships that they've faced. I think now they shouldn't be so afraid to ask us. And one of the things that I learned just from being a mom is you might be in a store and hearing a kid having a total meltdown, and your first instinct might be, why does that mother smack that child? But now you have a greater understanding, first, what it's like to be a parent, and secondly, maybe that kid isn't just a brat. Maybe there's something else going on.
I bet, too, as you talk with other parents, you find how many other parents have
Absolutely.
special kids, and they don't
Absolutely.
talk about
It's
it.
amazing.
We meet total strangers. Hey, I'm bipolar. Hey, it's like, welcome to the club. But I think a lot of people when their children are diagnosed, you have a tendency to just sort of suffer quietly inside. You don't want to tell anybody. And I think what our book and what our movement is doing is letting people know they're not alone. And once you begin to tell people, that's when you start getting the help. Because that's when people, hey, I tried this, or have you done this? So that's where you start to reach out and get the help you need.
That's great. So maybe one of the pieces of advice you give parents who have special needs children is don't be quiet about it.
No,
Put up the
talk
bumper
about it.
stickers and
Right.
talk
Right.
about it with fellow parents. What about other words of wisdom that you've learned over time, to talk to people who have special needs kids? What are the kind of lessons that you've learned that really profoundly, other than talking about it, what are the things that you just find are quintessential that maybe you covered?
Well, it's a cycle. I mean, you can't, Patty and I say our book is not for everybody, because when your child is newly diagnosed, you're not ready to laugh yet. And I think that you have to understand where people are in the cycle. It's like it is a learning process.
Absolutely. Best advice for parents without special needs?
Just don't be scared by a label. Get to know the child. And that's what our book, and people see the name of our book and sometimes say, oh, that's these two angry mothers, who wants to listen to that? If you just judge that book by that title, you wouldn't see that it's heartwarming and it celebrates the beauty of kids with special needs. If you just read that title, you'd never get past it. And it's just like our kids.
Well, even with their own children. They may not have anything diagnosable, but instead of celebrating them for how many goals they might score on the soccer field, credit them for the times that they just take to the field, that and some of those little things that go ignored.
It's not bad advice for all parents, to be honest.
Right.
I want to do just a quick pitch for you guys because I really love what you're doing. These t-shirts are great. Another way to broadcast the message, shut up about your perfect child. Of course, we're going to put this information on our website, how to get the book, how to reach you guys. So any other resources that you found invaluable as you went through this process?
And we're beginning to build on our website a list of resources. That's one of our undertakings in the next few months, and to really offer. But I think where we want parents to come there and just, this is your opportunity to submit stories about your kid, to talk, to share information, and tell us what resources you'd like to see. So it's really, we call it an imperfect community on our website, but that's where you can come in and just talk about your children.
That's great. Thank you for joining us tonight. That's going to end tonight's show. For Mom Matters, this is Alyssa Dver giving you practical tips for more productive parents.